Hello everyone, welcome to the session 4 of UiPath Community RPA Foundation Prep Series. So in today's series, we have our host as Priyanka and Deepak who will be presenting. So thank you so much for all of you for joining, and Priyanka, let's get started.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining the session, and let's get started. Okay. So in the previous session of web automation that we have seen that how we can interact with the web application. Okay. And at that time we were getting the data and sending the data to the application using its user interface. And this time we will be seeing today's agenda will be image and text automation. So we will see how we can deal with the image, and we'll see how we can deal with the Citrix automation, how we can perform a Citrix based automation. And then we can see what is an API and how we can deal with the API. So what are the example of API, types of API, and the components of API while we call the API. And we'll see how we can call an API in UiPath Studio. So today me and Deepak will be presenting this session, and so let's get started without any delay. So API, whenever we deal with the application, right, we use its interface, user interface. But have you think that can we deal with the application or our website or a web browser without using its user interface? And the answer is yes. So we can do it with the help of API. So what is API? API is application programming interface, which carries the data from one application to another. To simplify, API delivers the user response to the system and sends the system response back to the user. So let's have a look at the real world example. So you can see that when you go to the restaurant or hotel, you go and sit at your table. So you get the menu card to choose your dish you want. And you will have a waiter coming up and taking the order that you want. Then you tell him that you want a particular dish, let's say pizza. So you don't directly go to the kitchen and get your food. So what you do, you are requesting a dish pizza through waiter. And then he go to the kitchen, gets your dish cooked and serve you the food, right? So in this case, who is interface between you and the kitchen is your waiter. And it's his responsibility to carry the request from you to the kitchen and make sure that once it is getting done, the dish is done or cooked, he get back to you as a response. So this was the short story of API and the real world example. So let's come to the technical perspective of API. So one common example of API usage when we come across on a daily basis, which is weather data. For example, so when you go to the Google and you search weather of your current city or weather of your city, right? So you will get the response in a search result with current weather condition and forecast. So you get all the details, right? So Google is not in business of weather data yet. So how they do it? How they can perform and how they can get the data of weather and send it to you? So they source this information from a third party and they do with the help of API. So let's see the component or a type of a API. So there are two types of API, let's say REST and SOAP. So you might have heard about this term REST and SOAP. So let's see what are these. So REST is the representational state transfer and SOAP is simple object access protocol. So REST is basically a architectural style, whereas the SOAP is a protocol, and the REST permits the different data types or data formats like such as plain text, HTML, XML, JSON. So we can pass the data to the server or we can get the data from the server in a different format such as HTML, XML, and JSON. and SOAP permits the XML format only. Again, the REST does not define any standard like SOAP, whereas the SOAP defines some standard. REST are more preferred than SOAP because it is easy to use and it bandwidth and API. That's why it is more reliable than SOAP. As well as HTTPS for security, and on the other hand, SOAP has SSL and WS security, that means web service security. Like suppose bank pass or card that's important. So worst. This is all about AI. So let's see some
Priyanka, you are breaking a little bit.
so should
Voice
I
is not
go
clear.
low?
No. Your voice is breaking somehow. Is it the internet issue? Can you just try to connect audio back?
Okay.
Yeah, now it is audible. Now it is good.
Okay, fine.
Guys, now is it good? Yes. Okay. Sure. Thank you, Priyanka. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So that's we have seen what is API. So example of API, and we have seen the type of API, right? The types of API, REST and SOAP. And component of API that we use while calling API. These are, first one is endpoint. So what is endpoint? So it's basically a URL or a path for API request. So with the help of URL or a path, we can call a particular API. So the endpoint, then the header. So header provides additional information to client and server. So common example of header would be authentication. So the auth token or
Priyanka,
client
your
ID.
voice is breaking again. Priyanka, your voice is breaking again. It is not at all clear.
Okay.
Huh,
Let me,
can you please check your Wi-Fi or internet?
yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're breaking a lot and nothing is audible. That's why.
Okay.
Uh, Now it is audible. Now it is clear, but in between it
Okay.
breaks sometime.
Okay.
Okay, now it is clear. Can you please repeat from the point of header? Because we
Okay,
missed from
sure.
that.
Sure.
Sure, thanks.
So I will not keep as in a full screen.
Okay, no issues. No issues.
Yeah. So header provides the additional information to the client or a server. So common example of a header would be authentication, such as auth token or ID. So another example or a common header is content type. So which inform the server what type of content will be sent. For example, commonly used content type is application/JSON. So let's know we
It is again breaking, Priyanka. Priyanka, can you please try one thing? Can you disconnect and connect again?
Okay, sure.
Uh, yeah, it's because it's breaking a lot.
Yeah, I will leave. Yeah. Just give me 5 minutes,
Guys,
I'll
sorry for the
join.
inconvenience. Yeah, sure, Priyanka. Guys, sorry for the inconvenience. In the meantime, if you have any questions, we have Deepak also as our co-host. Hi, Deepak. I think Deepak also has some connectivity issues. Deepak, are you able to hear us? In the meantime, Priyanka is joining again. So how many of you guys have actually worked on the use case which we gave in the earlier session? If you remember, me and Parth had a session earlier. So how many of you have completed the session and submitted? Nobody? I don't see any hand raises in chat. Oh, Raj has raised the hand. So I think Raj has completed. Priyanka, are you in the meeting?
Yes, Nisarg.
Perfect.
The voice is audible now?
Yeah, it is. It is much better. Guys, can you please confirm? Is the voice audible?
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Priyanka.
So I'm sharing my screen. Maybe can all of you can off your video or camera. So might be that is getting a bandwidth.
Yeah, keep your videos off, guys. As of now, at the
At
end
the
of the
end we
session,
will,
we will
yeah.
start again. Yeah. Thank you for the cooperation. Thank you, Priyanka. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So screen is also visible, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'll start from the beginning, like from API request component. So we have some components and we use the component, this component while we calling API. So endpoint. So endpoint is basically a URL or a for API request. And header is proven client and server. Common example of application and other example of header is content type. So content is what basically what type of data we are sending. So then comes the method. So method are HTTP method. So these are the action taken when sending a request. For example, get. So to get the data from the server. So there are lots of method. So then comes the post method to send the data to the server. Then put is used to edit the data or resources. Delete is used to delete the resources. Then next component is data or a body, which is information will send or written by the server or API request. So parameters are used to limit the data that we are getting from the server. So for example, if you want to fetch the user details and we have hundreds of user and we want to fetch the user detail for a specific user. So we can provide a user ID which is unique for all the user as a parameter, and we can fetch the user data for that specific user ID. Then comes the response. So response is a response that we are getting from the server. And response can be in a different format, like it send the HTTP status code in a response. So each status code has its meaning. So for example, 200 means okay, 201 means created, 400 means bad request, 401 means unauthorized. And we come across a common status code all the time, 404. So can anybody tell me what 404 status code is? You can ping in the chat box. Not found, correct. Right. These are all about component. So we endpoint, header, data, params, and response. So enough talking and theoretical knowledge. Yeah. So let's see dive into the demo and let's see how we can use API and how we can call an API in UiPath video. So demonstrate API, I'm going to use this website, which is Open
Your
Weather
voice is
Map.
breaking again. Priyanka, your voice is breaking again.
Is it fine now?
Because a lot of people are pinging in the chat that voice is breaking a lot.
Mm,
Are you wearing any headphone or
no, I didn't wear.
why it is breaking? Because we are
I'm
able
draw.
to hear. Now it is clear. I mean, in between, sometimes it gets clear, and sometimes it is breaking.
Okay, I'll go slow so that
Maybe
people
because
can
of bandwidth
catch.
issue. Go a little bit
Yeah,
slow. If something is there, we'll I'll immediately unmute and tell you
sure. I
to.
will repeat it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I will repeat it.
sure.
Yeah. So for demonstration purpose, I'm using openweathermap.org website. So this is basically, giving a forecast or a weather of particular city. So if you go to the API section, you can find a lot of API for current forecast weather. So you can see that there is a lot of APIs available. And for today's demo, I'm going to use current weather data API. So what it is doing, it is giving me the access to the current weather data for any location, including 2 lakh cities. So let's go to the API doc. And you can see that there is an API request call for this current weather data. Okay. So I'm going to use this first API call. So you can see that there is some path and there is something called, we need to pass some data, that is city name and API key. So this is called as a parameter. So I'm just copying this and I'm going to new tab and I'm pasting it. So now we have to replace the city name with some city. Okay, let's say Pune. And API key. So from where we'll get the API key? So go to the website again. So you have to sign in for this website to get the API key. So you just go to your account, my API key, and from here you will get the API key. So just copy it and paste it here and hit enter. So you can see that we are getting the weather data or a weather forecast of city Pune. So you can see the city name here. You can see the country, India, and all the data related to weather. So this is how we can call an API. We can form the request, API request, and we can call that particular API. And this time we are getting the data from the server. But what if we want to, post the data to the server, or we have to create some resources to the server with the help of API? What if we have to edit the data with the help of API, right? So we need something to do it, right? We cannot pass our data by, by using a browser. So to do that, we have a tool called Postman. So Postman tool is basically used to test our API. So we can get the Postman tool, by its window desktop version. Also we can get the web version of it. So you can, to get the Postman, you can go to the Google and search Postman download, let's say, and you can go to the website and you can download the desktop version, or you can use web-based as well. So now to test the API in Postman, so what we are going to do, we are going to test the same API in this Postman tool. Okay. So to test, we have to create a new request. To do that, click new, click on request, provide any name, let's say weather forecast, and save it. Now we can see that here
Priyanka,
a
you're
different.
breaking again. Priyanka, you're breaking again.
Okay.
1 second. Yeah, now continue. I
Okay.
think, yeah, now it is clear.
Yeah. So you can see that there is a different method we can, use, like get, post. So as I told you, we can use get method to get the data. We can use post method to create requests or to create the resources with the help of API. So as of now, we are getting the data of a weather for a particular city. So we will be using get method. And we have to enter the request to URL over here. So what will be our request URL? This will be our request URL. Now you will ask me why you didn't provide this, because this is a parameter and we have a different section to provide the parameter, which is this. So we have to provide the parameter as a key and value. So what is key and value? So Q is the key in our case and the parameter would be Pune. Then again, app ID is the another key and the API key is the value. So you can see that whenever I entered this parameter, the URL got formed automatically. So we can always provide a URL. You can provide a directly, you can copy all this and you can provide it here, or else you can provide the API, you can add the parameter later. Then comes the authorization. So authorization is used to authorize that particular API. And once we authorize, we get some token, and with the help of token, we can use rest of the API. So as of now, we don't need any authorization, but you can always, generate the authorization or create the bearer token or auth token with the help of these method, these type. Then comes the header section. So inside header section, we can provide content type and application JSON. So this is basically what it is mentioning, or what it is saying, that the data is going to the server or coming from the server would be in a JSON format. Then comes the body. We can provide a body over here whenever we are creating any resources with the help of API. But as of now, we are getting the data. So we mostly use the body section when we are using post or put method. So as of now, we are getting the data, so we don't need to use body. So let's just click on send and let's see what happened. So you can see that the status is 200. That means okay. And we are getting the data here. So till now, we've seen that how we can call an API and how we can test our API with the help of Postman tool. So let's just go ahead and see how we can call the same API with the help of UiPath Studio. So to do that, go to UiPath Studio. Let's create one process. Let's drag one sequence over here. Now, to deal with API, we need some set of activities, right? And if we go to the API activity panel, you can see that there is no any, activities for API. So we can find only orchestrator HTTP request. And if you go, you cannot find the activities. So to deal with API, so that to get the activity set, you have to go to manage package, go to all package and search web.activities. And you can see that UiPath.web.activities package is provided here. And you can deal with JSON data, REST API, SOAP API, and XML. So just click on install, save it. So all the dependency will get added to your process. And once you go to the activities panel, you can see the HTTP request activity is here. So HTTP request activity is used to call an API. So let's drag. Once you drag the activity, one widget will open. So it will say that request builder and response. So what is request builder? So we are providing our data here. We can build a request like endpoint. We can provide a request method and authentication and parameter, and we can see the response as well here. So let's provide an endpoint. So in this case, our endpoint will be this. Let's copy it, paste it here. Request method is get for this API call, and accept the response as, we can select JSON because we want the response in JSON format. You can select any response, and to add the parameter, just click on this drop down and click on add parameter button. Now in this case, what is our parameter? Q, and the value of Q, that is city, let's say Pune. We have to add one more parameter, which is app ID, right? So to do that, click on parameter, add parameter button, and just copy this and paste it here. So you can see that we can provide the authentication here as well. And as of now, we don't need any authorization. So we will select it as a none. Let's preview the data. And you can see that the request URL is this, request method is get, and the status code, which is 200. That means okay. And also we are getting the data that we have got in this API call. So let's click OK. That means our API request call is successful. And the property section, you can find all these things, and you can always modify these things. See this? You can see the parameter, and you can see the header. As of now, we don't have any header. Now, in the output, it is providing a result, right? So whatever we have got this, the weather condition or weather forecast of city, it will be stored in this result section. So let's create a variable for it. Let's say result. And let's create a status code. So with the help of status code, we got to know that whether our API call is successful or got failed. So let's create one variable for it. Let's say status code. Now what we'll do, we'll just use message box activity to print this. We'll have one more message box activity. Status code, and here we will print result. Just save it and run the workflow. So you can see that we got the status code, which is 200. That means okay, and we got the data. But you can see that the data is not in proper format. So whatever you got here, you're not getting here it properly, right? Why? Because whenever HTTP method or HTTP request activity returns the output, it returns in a string format or a text format. If you go to the variable section, and you can see the type of result, which is string. And we are getting the result in a JSON format. We want a result in a JSON format. So how we can do it? So to do that, we have a deserialized JSON activity. So let's drag it here. So what deserialized JSON activity does? it accepts the string format and it converts the data as a JSON object. So in our case, result will be a string format. And let's create a JSON object. Let's say weather data. And now print the weather data. Let's save it and run it. We got the 200, and you can see that we are getting the data in a JSON format or a proper format. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to extract the temperature value from it. So I don't want everything to be, displayed. I just want a temperature value out of it. And I'm going to print it, the temperature value. So how I'm going to do it? To access the temperature value, it is under the main section. If you go to the browser, you can see that. Say this. Suppose I have to access the temperature value. What I'm going to do, I have to access the main. And in the JSON format, to access the value, we access with the help of its key. So to access the main, to access the temperature, what we are going to do, we are going to simply print weather data of main and temp. Save it and run it. So you can see that you got the temperature value. So 303.35. It is changing because it is calling API. So it is getting updated, if we refresh it, you can see that. Getting the updated data. So this is how we can access the data. But you ask me like how it is 303 temperature in Pune, right? So it is not actually in a Celsius format, it is in a Kelvin format. So if we go to the Google and type Kelvin to Celsius conversion, you can see that we have to subtract the 273.15 from the Kelvin to get the Celsius value. So we are going to do same. So what we are doing, we are getting we will drag assign state, assign activity here, and we will be passing this value. So what we are going to do, we are going to use cint to convert it into the integer format, and we will be passing our Kelvin data, Kelvin temperature. Okay, and we will be storing it in a variable. So let's create one variable of temp, select the type as integer, and assign this to the temp. We will drag one more activity, which is assign, over here. And this time what we are going to do, we will be creating a temperature variable, to store the Celsius temperature. And what we are going to pass here, we are going to pass a temp, which is Kelvin value, minus 273.15. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert it into the string format. To do that, I'm using toString. So let's click OK. So what we have done, we have converted this temperature value, Kelvin temperature value, into integer. We have assigned to the variable, and we are subtracting the value, and we are again assigning it to the, converting it into the string value, and we are assigning to the variable. So let's print this time with the help of message box. Let's say temperature of Pune is, and our variable. temperature. Okay. And let's run the workflow. We got the status code 200. This is the Kelvin value. And this is the Celsius value. So temperature of Pune is 30.85. Now, we have done it for a city, a particular city, right? We can also do it for different city and make it a dynamic. So how we can do it? So what we're going to do, we are going to ask a user to enter a city, and with the help of that particular city, we are fetching the weather condition. So to do that, I'm going to go to this HTTP request. I'm going to header section, sorry, I'm going to parameter section, and I'm creating a variable for this city to hold the city value, which user is going to enter. So let's create a variable. Let's say city, hit enter, click OK, and drag one user input dialog. So input dialog is basically used to ask user input. Enter the city. And it will hold the result, whatever we are entering in this particular output. So let's use this city variable that we have just created, and we are passing the value of the city to our HTTP request activity. So just save it. And this time we have to print the weather of city as well, right? According to the city that we are entering. So what we are going to do, we are using a dynamic value. So we are calling our variable. So it will print like this, the temperature of city, temperature, whatever we are entering, and the temperature value. So let's save this and run this. So this time I'm entering, let's say Mumbai, click OK. So this is the Kelvin value, and this is the Celsius value. So temperature of Mumbai is 33.85. So this was all about API, example of API, types of API, different component of API. And we have seen that how we can call an API, how we can test our API with the help of Postman tool. Also, we have seen that how we can call an API in UiPath Studio with the help of HTTP request activity. Also, we have seen that how we can, deserialize JSON or parse the JSON, and how we can extract a particular value from a JSON, right? So that's all from my side. Thank you for all. Over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Priyanka. It was nice work and nice demo on the API side. So let's
Thank you so
start
much,
with
Priyanka. Deepak,
yes. Can you hear me?
please share your screen.
Yes, I'm.
So in the meantime, while Deepak is sharing the screen, Priyanka, we have a question. Difference between deserialized JSON and JSON array. So we will address this question in the chat.
Okay.
Thanks. Deepak?
Yes.
Deepak, your voice is not audible.
I'm able to hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, this is clear now.
Hello?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, but a little bit. I mean, your voice is really low.
Now is it better?
A little bit louder. Guys, are you able to hear Deepak? Low audio, Deepak.
Now?
Yes, now it is much better.
Okay. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. So let's start with the second part of this demonstration. So here we are going to discuss about image, text, and centric automation piece. So whenever we are talking about the UiPath framework and there is a lot of images and text are available to be automated. So for this we will need to have image activities, text activities, and definitely OCR or Citrix activities. So mouse and keyboard combination we can use it for any of the framework, but uh, image, text, and OCR, and again the Citrix is a all three a different part. So we'll see each one by one. So let's move to the image and text activities. Here when we are talking about the image recognition activity, uh, we can call similar to human behavior using images as means of identify UI elements. So just like if we are working on any specific image, that image is required to be clicked, or capturing the content of that image, then hovering that image, again finding the position of that image. So if you are working on any website is having some image to be displayed, let me show you. Like we are on the UiPath document portal, where this is the logo of UiPath. So if you want to capture the position of this logo, we can get it for our automation perspective. Then the next part will have the get full text, get visible text as well, extract structured data, and text exit. So this all components is related with almost same behavior. We can see that the image and text is available in the both places. So these activity enables us to make decisions based on whether or not given is displayed or text is available for the user to use the data. So this can be captured or hovered or even the clicked based on the UI element which we are getting. The accuracy is definitely on the 100% for the image and text. So there's no doubts, we can use it for the 100% accuracy level. So let's start with each and every activity. I will demonstrate you about two of the activity on get text position and get full text. So for demonstration, we need to drag and drop full text activity, where we can capture or indicate from our screen this text. You have for documentation portal. So when we click on the indicate on screen, it will jump to our web page where we can capture this text. Let's wait for the loading if we want to capture it. Loading.
Deepak, we lost your audio again.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So let's click again for capturing the screen of the text. Yeah, so now it's reflected. We have captured the thing, but let me show you it again, indicating on the screen. So when we click on this, you can see that the hover image is available. So we have to select the whole screen or whole text. So if you want to show off this text on any message box or show in any specific piece, just like take an example of uh, capturing or collecting data from the several e-commerce sites, where we want to extract the product detail or any specific information about the product and save it to the Excel file. So this activity will help us to extract the data from any specific uh, website or any specific application as well, and show up to even in the message box or in the Excel file. So let me show it here, like in message box, drag and drop on message box activity, where we can define one variable and display it to message box. Variable here, we'll assign the same variable into message box. Now you can see all the warnings are resolved. Let's take another part for the position. So if we want to specify any specific position of image or text, we can also do that. So for specifying the position of any elements, we just have to drag and drop the get position activity, where again the indicate activity is available. Let's take an example of same text. So what's the position of this text? We can get it on message box. So let's drag and drop one more activity here, and for specifying the position we just have to create one variable. Now let's run this. So this is the one part when we are talking about the text and image and automation. So there is a different other part is also available when we are working or creating a sequence for images, which we have already covered in capturing the data or extracting the data from the image. So I'm not going to a deeper side. We'll discuss about the OCR activity and syntax automation in detail. So once the execution is completed, we will get the UiPath documentation portal text available in the message box, and the same position is also there. So let's wait for the execution. Now you can see the text is available. When we click on the OK, we will get the position. So there is a two coordinates are available, x and y. On both the coordinate position is there, and their width and height of that text is also available or also displayed on the message box. So get position will provide us the data of x and y coordinates as well as the height and width of the text is written. So just like when we are opening the document file or writing the text, so the font size is available. The same font size is the width and height of the text. This is the one example. There is other several other activities also available which we can use it for get visible text or extract structure data or text exit. So these all we can use it for our text, or we can use it for the sequence or automating the text. Or Next part, when we are talking about Citrix automation and OCR activities, so the OCR activity is also having a same database structure, but whenever we are having any specific tool or uh, remote control position, or like we are working on the two different tools, and if we want to extract the content from the uh, one system or automate the application available on the remote server, and automating that application is very much possible, and with accuracy of more than 95%, which we can use it for the native Citrix automation. Definitely OCR activities also we can use it also. So for creating an environment, we can use it TeamViewer application. So you have to install your TeamViewer application, connect with your second system, and you can open it. But now I am showing here the example on the local system. Same steps we can perform it for the remote server as well, or Citrix system as well. So let me delete these activities. So this is a notepad where I want to open this notepad for the my automation activity, write some text. So after writing the text, it will ask for the saving when we are going to close this notepad, and if we will hit save button, it will ask for the name of the text file which we have to be stored. And again, if we don't want to store or save this file in our local system, we just keep this and directly close the application. So let's see how we can do that. So here you can see the native and Citrix automation, where when we click on this, it will open a Citrix wizard where we can automate our remote system or remote application available on the server. So let's skip this. The background, we have to open the notepad file, then native Citrix recording, click on record, and click on here. For recording, we don't want to use this tab, we just want to open the notepad. So whenever the notepad is already open, it will go to the editor window, or in editor window it will write the code. But here we want to start it from the beginning, where notepad is lying on taskbar. So let me minimize this, and again go to native and Citrix, record the wizard, where we have to select our notepad tool. So I don't want to use it the anchor tab, where we have to just single click on this and type. So this is native and Citrix automation wizard. Now it's done. If you want to close this activity, we will get save or don't save. I don't want to save this, so I will just click on the don't save and press on escape key. Let's save and exit. So now you can see all the action which we have performed is auto recorded. So let's open the notepad file again and keep into taskbar, so that we will run this code. Minimize this. Let's run. Now you can see it automatically opened the notepad file and written the text. Then it will close this. without showing this without saving this notepad. So this is talking about the selector parts where we have to define the specific selector and the position which we want to close it. For closing this, we just have to go to this and edit selector. So here, so when we are clicking on the close button, so we can do not save or don't save is the text available here. So we can enter here. So whatever text is available, just write it here and use the wildcard and click on validate. So because the window is not available, it will not validate. So click on OK. So and the same second part is the on upper hyphen. So we have to define each and every condition in detail so that it will work accordingly. So this is the different behavior we have seen for the native and Citrix automation. But when we are doing the normal recording, it will go to the specific application for the specific tool only. So if the one instance of application is open, we can do the basic recording or desktop recording. But if we are closing that instance, it will not work for the second part. So this is the difference which we are getting for the Citrix recording, where we can get the exact location or the detail about the application which we are trying to automate it. So the same type of activities available in the OCR as well as we have seen in the text automation, image automation. Then OCR activities is also having same of the click to OCR text, then click text, hover text, find OCR text position, get OCR text, and exit text as well. So let's understand the technologies or basic tools and technologies available for the Citrix automation. So we have already discussed about the Citrix automation part. So whenever we are talking the specific automation techniques and tools, as we have seen in the, we can see one part on the native and Citrix recordings. Then the major component when we are talking about the their techniques and tools, the easiest way to automate in the virtual environment is using the specialized Citrix recorder, which we have just used it now, which automatically generates fully configured activities based on the user's action. It also facilitates the user of techniques relative to the scraping method as well. Then first it will launch any specific application. As you said, it will launch Notepad from the taskbar and start acting on that tool. So same behavior when we are working for the remote application, where application is already installed or shortcuts are available on specific virtual system, where we have to just click on double click or any perform any option. So whenever we are doing for the single click, use it click click OCR, and whenever we are for the double click, whatever application is required to double click, we just have to double click on that application so that it will launch. And after the instruction is goes on, like writing any text or writing the use cases or extracting the data from there, then identify their UI elements and inserting data inside the Citrix. So this is the techniques and tools which is required to automate our Citrix application on virtual environment. For creating a virtual environment, as I already said, we can use it for the personal system. We can definitely use it a team viewer or any other personal system to integrate from one place to other place, so that we will make the other system as a virtual. So this is all about what we have covered on the text, image and Citrix automation. So any question, we are happy to address it.
Guys, you can post your questions in chat, or you can ask your questions to Deepak or Priyanka if you have any questions. So you can unmute yourself and you can ask your questions. So Deepak, I spotted one question we had, which was about how to open Citrix application which are not in our ribbon.
Not in a ribbon means
So Garimala, can you please explain your question?
Ribbon means in the down you can see that the application is not in that ribbon like what we're seeing in the below Chrome and all that. It may be in our Citrix like Unity while searching Windows, and we can open that. How to open those applications?
so just like if we have launched TeamViewer, where after launching the TeamViewer, we will definitely see the virtual system, where if the application is available on desktop of virtual system, we just click on the double click or single click. It's totally depend on the nature of the application how you can open it. Otherwise, if that application is not available on desktop, we have to search it from the Windows tab. Over there also we can see the top sorry left bottom corner, there is a menu option is available, which we can search it for the any application with their name.
Thank you.
Hi Lopa, I can see the question. That is, what is difference between get full text and get visible text activity, right? So get full text activity is associated with the full text method. So whenever we use full text method, or we have to get the data or get the specified UI element from the screen, we use full text method. And there is an option which is hidden element. So we can, if we check that particular item, so we can get the hidden element as well. And for get visible text activity, so this is basically for a native native method of screen scraping. So this is related to that, and in that we cannot get the hidden element from the screen, but we get the word count. So this is the difference between get full text and get visible text. Thank you, Lopa.
So regarding Suresh's question on the drop down menu after recording, how we can change to dynamic selection. So for dynamic selection, you can use it for either fuzzy selector or regex operation. It's totally dependent on the which framework you are working, but it's better suit for the using wildcards, and fuzzy selector will help you to get rid of this. So wildcard is basically, we have already covered in the previous session of the selector, star, asterisk, and question mark.
And Nusrat, there is question regarding how to take care of background automation. So we can always create a background process. When you go to the UiPath Studio, you'll get the option to create a background process, and you can create the background process to run the process in background. Also, you can run your process through UiPath Assistant in picture-in-picture mode. So that will also work in the background.
For Ranjit, downloading an application, you will get the UiPath Studio from the uipath.com, where you have to register your account, and after creating account, you will get an email message notified to your email box, which you have provided at the time of registration. From there, you can download it. Uh, Karima, there is a question about Citrus plugins. Can you please elaborate this? What plugins you are looking for?